Hey there guys, today we're taking a look at Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5600H. Now this is running on the Beelink SER5 mini PC, and here we have the game with the lowest in-game graphics settings, except I had set the textures to their maximum. The thing is that the game itself really did not recognize that at all. Now textures don't really affect performance at all, so you can max them out on an APU as long as you have enough system RAM, because your system RAM is your VRAM. Now there is a solution to this, and I'm going to show you right now how to fix this, because you can max this out without having to worry about it affecting performance at all. And the way to fix this is you go to your app data, then local, and then from here you pretty much have to just go down to where it says SW game saved config Windows no editor, and then you open up the game user settings. And once you have this open, you can just look up game user to get to the game user settings, and all the way down in this category you just have to go down here and add in this line: GPU underscore VRAM underscore size underscore MB, and then in quotation marks however much VRAM your system has. Now my system by default has 512 megabytes allocated, so that's what I set it to. And the only other thing that you need to do is adjust the texture quality in these scalability groups. Now for me it was set to a texture quality of 3. You just need to change it to 4. And after you save that, you can see here me loaded into the game. The textures are significantly better to where we were at before, but we now need to see what the actual performance is going to be like. And after playing it for a while, I actually was pleasantly surprised by the performance. Now you're looking at the game right now running with the lowest in-game graphics settings, but we are also at 720p. 1080p and 900p are really going to be out of the question, and 720p does provide the best experience here. In general, our averages were pretty rock solid, though our 1% lows left a little bit to be desired, just because there was this pretty frequent stutter throughout the entirety of the game. Not enough to really ruin the experience, but it was enough to at least be noticeable. In general, it's not a bad experience, and our 1% lows are at a range where I would consider it to be perfectly acceptable. And this is actually really great to see, because this game really ran pretty terribly on the Ryzen 5 5500U. Now I have not revisited ever since we got the DirectX 11 updates, so there might be something to that ended up improving the performance, but at least on the Ryzen 5 5600H, this was pretty impressive levels of performance, and I was more than satisfied like this. Now if you're someone that is sensitive to fluctuations in FPS and dropping down into the mid 30s is not acceptable to you, you can always lock the FPS to around 30. Doing so won't completely eliminate the stutters that end up happening in the game, but the fluctuation difference is a lot smaller. It really just comes down to it being a judgment call on your part on whether or not this is going to be better for you or not. Personally, I don't think I would end up locking the FPS to 30. It felt perfectly fine for me having the FPS at 60. We never really hit 60 most of the time, but still being in the 50s, so the occasional dips here and there, was more than acceptable for me, and having the smoother experience of being in the 50s for most of the time is really worthwhile for me, but I can completely understand if that's just not the case for you. But in general, I am just blown away that this actually performed as well as it did, especially because I had to do some pretty ridiculous stuff with the Ryzen 5 5500U to even remotely get it to be at a decent range. So the fact that we have some flexibility here on what kind of FPS we want to go with is actually really pleasantly surprising. So in general, I am just constantly being blown away by this Beelink SER5 mini PC. It really is one of my favorite systems I've ever gotten my hands on. You get a lot of power on such a small package, and I'm blown away just by how much of an improvement the chip in it is over the 5500U. And it really just has me very curious to even just get the system with it that has the 5500U, just to actually see what the performance is like. But if you're interested in picking up this mini PC that I'm using right now, you can always check out the Amazon affiliate links down below. I'm telling you, it is a system with a lot of power, and for the price to performance that it's at, it's really kind of undefeated right now. I'm looking forward to the day that we get some RDNA 2 based APUs at this price point, because I think that's going to be a real game changer. But as it stands right now, at around the $300 to $350 price point, it's hard to really compete with what this system has to offer. Everything else is just an Intel based system with ancient CPUs that don't have anywhere near fast enough GPUs to compete with this. So in general, I am extremely happy. So check it out down below. I will catch you guys in the next one.